Hello, Wanda. I'm very pleased to welcome here today at our SRHM platform, and I'm extremely pleased to introduce you currently as a member of the Polish Parliament and chair of the Parliamentary Group of Women's Rights, co-founder and president for 20 years of the Polish Federation of Women and Family Planning, and co-founder of ASTRA network as well, and a very long-standing member of SRHM editorial advisory board. Thank you for being here, Wanda, today.
Hello, Esther. It's lovely to see you via Zoom. So it's lovely to talk to you today.
So, Wanda, we would like to talk to you about the Constitutional Tribunal decision and its political context and impact. As a first question, can you please tell us about the Constitutional Tribunal decision and what is it about?
Okay, Esther, I'll start with brief history of abortion debate in Poland. Poland had legal abortions since 1956, so for almost 40 years. And when Poland was in a process of political transformation towards freedom and democracy, at that time, conservatives and all kinds of fundamentalists came to the political scene as well, and they pushed for delegalization of abortion. So in 1993, despite strong efforts of my organizations and other movements, abortion was delegalized in Poland, abortion on so-called social grounds. Since that moment, abortion on for reasons of fetal malformation, criminal reasons, and to save women's life and health was legal. And in the 21st century, these conservatives and all kinds of fundamentalists started to push for further restrictions to abortion. And the big attempt taken by a ruling party, extreme conservative and also very authoritarian regime, they tried to push abortion, illegal abortion on all grounds. Then women protested, went out to the streets. It was in 2016. So they withdrew and didn't happen. However, they decided to go other way, not via parliament, but via constitutional court, since constitutional court is one of these institutions that has been taken over by let's say, this authoritarian regime. And as a result of that, 3 weeks ago, a constitutional court made a decision which is not treated by us as a real decision, that abortion for fetal malformation is against Polish constitution. Okay.
Wanda, can I ask just one question? As you mentioned that this decision exists in a very strong political context. You mentioned the rule of law. That is, whether it's connected, how is it connected, this decision in the context of rule of law, whether it's connected to international law, European human rights law, and health law, and Polish constitution, and how it corresponds to the independence of the court system, that is a fundamental democratic value. So how it situates in this political context of the rule of law?
Let me first to tell you that for 6 years we have an extreme right-wing and authoritarian regime which is taking over or is devastating, is destroying our democratic institutions, such as, and one of those is constitutional courts. So they exist, but they are not fully independent as they should be, because they are controlled by executive power. So this is very important dimension of the situation in the country, because although we are still a member of the European Union and we are bound by all international agreements, treaties, EU legislation, EU treaty, still this current government is challenging those documents, and they just don't pay attention to them. And this is the problem. One problem is that they are highly conservative and they push for very inhumane policies against human rights, against women's rights, against LGBT rights, and other minorities, refugees, and so on. However, on the other hand, these institutions are not anymore the institutions as under the real democratic rule of law state. They have been destroyed. So that's unfortunately this situation, which leads me to final sentence. This decision that has been made by no means is a decision based on our constitution. This is the decision that has been expected by the authoritarian regime to be made, because this is the political requirement from the government to make this decision.
Wanda, this decision, as we know, has not only legal and human rights implications, although all these cannot be separated from each other, but serious public health impact as well. We know by now, by evidence, that restricting legal access to abortion doesn't decrease the need for abortion, but it is likely to increase the number of women seeking illegal and unsafe abortion. And also women seek services in countries abroad, those who can do that, which is costly, delays access and create social inequities. What is the expected impact of this decision on people's life?
Actually, to tell you the truth, even now, although the legal abortion on the grounds for fetal malformation is still legal, they were very little practiced. But now it will mean that it is not going to be practiced. And although only 3 weeks passed from this decision, and this decision is still not legal because it was not published, it started to operate, because some hospitals in Poland the day after announced that they are not going to perform abortions on those grounds. So the impact was immediate, and we know of women who were, let's say, they had a meeting with the hospital for abortion, and these meetings have been cancelled. And so that's immediate impact. But of course, in longer run, we know very well how it works. Those who will be specifically impacted by these decisions are those who are most vulnerable, who they have little resources and financial resources and other resources. So these will be these women and their families are going to be mostly affected, because the truth also is, as you said before, it will not stop abortions. It will make only them less available, sometimes some dangerous and very difficult to obtain. So women in better financial circumstances, they will probably go abroad to do it, and there are also services run by women to arrange abortions for such women who want to go abroad. But of course, they are not going, those NGOs or informal networks of women who do this, they are not going to solve the problem of all women in Poland, because women in reproductive rights in Poland, it's about 9 million. So that's really a huge problem.
Wanda, women and people and supporters are on the streets for 3 weeks now. Demonstrations are not stopping despite of the very severe measures that the regime and the police is imposing using COVID restrictions and other measures. What is the implication, what is the significance of these demonstrations, and what the demonstrators are demanding and expecting from the government and from the state? Because it's not only the government, there is a parliament, there is the court system, there is other ombud system. Like what is the situation with the demonstrations?
Actually, this is, I would say, a positive side of this extremely difficult situation of Polish women, because protesters are so numerous, and they are in all over the country. And they are, as you said, for 3 weeks, they are demonstrations in entire country, not only big cities, in small cities, sometimes here, the other, sometimes there. So they don't stop. And that really gives some optimism to people who demonstrate that, first of all, they are so numerous. And this is like a big lesson of democracy, of awareness raising. You hear a lot about women's freedom and right to decide, which we haven't heard for a long time. The question is how we can, what will happen now? Of course, I can't tell you that, but I think that, that the pendulum, which was so on the right side of now started to move back into left side, and hopefully this current leadership won't dare to implement this, the most extreme legislation. So this is like immediate thing. However, in longer run, and women in the streets and we in parliament, we are going to work towards better law. It probably won't happen soon, but this is the idea, this is the plan, and this is the hope. People are in this terrible time and in this growing pandemic, to be in the streets with those people gives you some energy and hope that not everything is lost.
Thank you so much, Wanda. We really appreciate your time and availability and wisdom of sharing the information and thoughts about the situation. Thank you so much, Wanda.
Thank you for asking. That's very important for us to know that that the world is interested in what's happening with Polish women. Thank you.